Welcome once again to Hunter's Entertainment on Twitch.tv. My name is Noxweiler Burf, and I am your game master and guide through the dark and sometimes terrifying world of Outbreak Undead. This is survival horror, and if you've not played Outbreak Undead before, we wish to welcome you. We also wish to be very honest. This game is not for the faint of heart. It is a horror role-playing system unlike anything that you've ever encountered before. It focuses upon survival mechanics. It's a simulation game. And as such, I, as the game master, have confirmed consent with each and every one of my players. We have drawn our lines and veils very closely, and we have been in communication about everything that might happen here tonight. That said, there are plenty of twists and turns that we have not explored. We understand each other, and we've built trust at this table. It takes bravery and support from each and every one of them to do that, and I am honored to have them at this table. I'm thankful for their time, their energy, and their creativity. Not every character that is being played has the same motivations as the other. You're going to find that many of these characters are directly at odds. It's not what perhaps you're used to seeing in tabletop role-playing content, but we think you're going to enjoy it. In this world, there are no magical swords. There are no valiant knights. There are no castle walls. Everything here is the echo of a world that is very familiar to all of us now, but it has been twisted and perverted over the years. 25 years of apocalyptic living has taken a toll on every character that you're going to meet here. The NPCs and the environments have all been drastically changed due to the nature of the situations that have been created by a world without sustained support. It bears the face of something that died long ago. It's the echo and the dying gasp of a civilization that is no longer with us. Still, in that darkness, we're hoping to show you that there is something to be found in the human nature of the whole thing that is worth exploring, worth unraveling. I'd like to thank Alex Hillman tonight and the entire Hunters team for helping to make this campaign happen. Without their steadfast devotion and support, we wouldn't be here. We also have our Scry program available to you now. If you're not familiar with the Scry program, we ask that you explore it. It is in the panels below, and you can engage with the apocalypse directly. You get to join with these communities and take on the role of a survivor yourself. You're going to divert resources and goods to where you think that they are needed most. Make no mistake, your choices tonight will mean the difference between life and death. Not only for the settlements within the Rag and Bone universe, but for the players here. Their characters, how they fare, all of that depends on how you manage the resources that are available tonight. Of course, we have our undead moderators available to you. They are tireless in their work, and they're prepared to help you by answering any questions that you may have. We ask, as always, that you support their efforts. Be respectful. I warn you, they bite. If you enjoy this content, we ask that you continue to make noise for us on social media. Help us to grow our community, bring more survivors into the fold. We have a Discord available to you, and if you enjoy this particular brand of Dark Ride, perhaps others will as well. We're dependent on your kindness in this matter, and we're eternally thankful for everything that you've done to help us grow. Allow me now to introduce you to the players in tonight's little nightmare. First, we have Michelle. Michelle, would you like to say hello to everyone viewing tonight and talk a little bit about yourself, the wonderful work that you're doing elsewhere on the internet, and the character that you're playing?
Sure. Hi, I'm Michelle and Bradley. Happy to be back this week. I had to take a break last week due to moving and boring adult stuff. You can find me everywhere on the internet at I am Chevy Bunny. That's Twitter, mostly Twitter and Instagram, so that's called. My brain's broken. You can also find me here every Tuesday, of course, and next week I'll be doing a special session with GM Megan Caves for Necrobiotic. It's a new game that is Imagine cyberpunk with like dead people, so that's going to be really fun. I'll have details about that on my Twitter later. Also, you can check out the Critical Role one shot I did. Was that last week or 2 weeks ago? Last week. Time is nothing. You can find it on YouTube. It's up there now, or on our Twitch, on Critical Role's Twitch, and that was super fun. And there's probably more to come. I am playing tonight Faith, and I believe that I want to say that Rowan and I went into that scary cabin, and then we just weren't around last episode, so we don't know what happened to them, and I don't know what happened to me. So I'm excited to see what happened, I guess. But also, I'm part of the Citadel, and Rowan's sort of like a mother and aunt to me. And oh yeah, that's right, my adopted brother Omar is here, and he's probably in trouble. It's gonna be fun.
Many of you are in trouble.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see how it all plays out. Markia, would you like to talk a little bit about what you're doing across the internet and the character that you're playing tonight?
Absolutely. Hi, I'm Markia McCarty. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Markia McCarty, MarkeiaMcCarty. There's no Q's in there. For here, you can find me at Darth Markia. And if you are a Facebook person, Markia TV. So yeah, June is going to, you know how there's Christmas in July? For me, it's going to be like Halloween in June. I am the narrator, producer, and story editor for Something Scary, where you can find us on YouTube, youtube.com/snarled, where we do animated horror episodes, and we also have horror podcasts. I have a bunch of horror things that are going to be coming up in June, so follow me to find things, everything from like me trying to escape a horror escape room to some things with Conjuring the Devil Made Me Do It. I think I already have that up on my social media, and then there's a bunch of other things that are going to be coming up, so enjoy the horror with me with that. As for tonight, I am playing Achira Sampson, who has gone through a lot so far. She wasn't here with us last week because the guys had to strut their stuff and show what could be done during that time, but she has proven to go back to her roots that she was taught when she was originally part of the Citadel. She knows how to hunt in the dark. She knows how to utilize enemies' weaknesses. However, a lot of her weaknesses are coming to the forefront right now. Like, for instance, bears. What the hell? We'll see how this goes tonight.
Funny enough, bears seem to be a weakness for many of the survivors at the table tonight. Melee, would you like to talk a little bit about all of the wonderful things that you're doing outside of the Rag and Bone universe, and a little bit about the character that you'll be playing tonight?
Hi there, I am Melee Damage. You can find me doing a bunch of stuff. Just follow me on all my socials, and you will see a myriad of things from gaming to music to film and TV stuff. So I have a lot of stuff coming up this month, and looking forward to sharing all of that with you bit by bit as I am going through that. You can find me on any social /Melee Damage. And tonight I will be playing Rowan, who is a lieutenant of the Citadel. And I was not here last week, but the week before that, I believe Faith and I were either about to be blown to bits or very safe. I think it was dependent upon a role there. In the middle of a cabin, and we might explode. Rowan might explode again. So we'll see how this goes.
It very well could be a short session for the both of you, depending on how that resolves itself. Luis, welcome back. Would you like to talk about all of the things that you're doing outside of our show and a little bit about the character that you'll be playing?
Sure thing. Hey everyone, I'm Luis Carrazzo. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, just by putting my name, first name and last name together. I'm an actor. Got a couple of commercials that are airing now and a couple other ones that are airing soon, and they were super fun to do. What I really want to plug is which I plug every week, but this time I have more details. My short film of Hearts and Castles is now, I can officially share that it's a part of the Palm Springs International Film Festival, which is an an Oscar qualifying film festival. So that's super exciting for us. And it's also for any Southern California local people. Palm Springs is kind of an easy, can be an easy drive for people. It's the first in-person film festival that we have had since we've been doing the festival circuit now for over a year. So that is super exciting to be able to be there in person. I'll probably still keep a distance from some people, but to be able to meet other filmmakers, I think we're all starving for that kind of opportunity to meet other people that are hungry to tell stories in the way that we are. And speaking of storytelling, I play Lampwick, who is in trouble. I say that so often. So last week, because I was here, Digger, Lampwick, and Kusanagi made their way into the cabin, following Faith and Rowan and Omar, who were who went in ahead of us to try to make sure it was safe. Well, it quickly became not safe outside. So we went inside, where we still haven't found them and are hoping to find them. But before we had a chance to give a real good look, danger came a-knocking and following us inside. So Lampwick last time was running up the stairs to get to the second story of this cabin, and on his way up tripped a wire and started falling.
Indeed. He was falling. That is exactly where we left you last we gamed together. I'm interested to see how it resolves itself, but we're not there quite yet. Last but not least, we do have Cynthia back with us, and I'm excited to say that Cynthia is playing a new character. So, Cynthia, forego the character description. We'll save that for when we get into the meat of this session. However, I would ask that you talk a little bit about all the amazing things that you do across the internet.
Yes, sir. Thanks. Hi, y'all. I'm Cynthia Marie. You can find me on Twitter at SidDancer, Instagram Cynthia__Marie. I play a lot of vampire and probably a lot of dark horror stuff. So I'm coming up on a new vampire series called The Nightlife. It's going to be on Renegade Games. It's vampires in Miami. Should be neon and interesting. Otherwise, you guys may know me as Nellie G from LA by Night. We just got greenlit for season 5, so you see a couple of familiar faces going on in the show. Yeah, I'm really excited to get started on that. I'm also on Sirens. We're also going to be starting up a new season there. That's going to be either on the Gilding Light or Satine Phoenix's channel. So just kind of all over the place playing games. I pop up randomly doing guest stuff like this. So I'm really excited to play my new character. Can I say her name?
You may say the name.
All right, her name is Camila Cervantes. So enjoy.
Excellent. Thanks again for being with us. We're very excited to have you here. Currently, due to the support of the audience that we have with us tonight, next week, it seems as though the survivors will be able to be given an additional competency point. If the information that I've been given is correct, you're already 11 subscriptions into that goal. If we reach 15 subscriptions or 100 follows, each of those will produce an additional competency point for each of the survivors here, and whoever is with us will need those points to be able to move forward in our game. They are the difference between a bad situation and one that allows you to escape just barely. Regardless, this week, we did not make our goal, so I will not be awarding any competency. Each of you will have your starting competency and the competency that is generated through the special abilities that you have created within your character sheets. With all of that said, the road is long, it's getting dark, we should get moving. The world ended on Monday, May 29th, 1995. The sky fell, and the dead would not die. Civilization quickly collapsed, and the sickness spread like lightning to even the most remote reaches of the world. They called it many things, but it started out simply as another round of the summer flu. It became something far, far worse. H195 was commonly referred to as the legacy or the Reaper's kiss. It was unstoppable. Those who died, those who succumbed to the illness, the virus, did not remain dead. They rose, and they attacked the living, and they were even more infectious after they had passed away. It was a living nightmare. Civilization burned. And at first, it seemed as if no one was immune. Luckily, though, it appeared that 0.01% of the population had a natural immunity to the airborne strain. But even those lucky souls couldn't withstand a concentrated introduction of the virus through a bite or a deep scratch or blood-on-blood contact. Any of these things would cause the person who had come in contact with the dead to become infected, and to join their ranks. An endless horde of the dead that swelled up before anyone could react appropriately. Governments fell. The world was in chaos. People turned on each other. It was not humanity's finest moment, but like a wounded animal, atrocity was the rule of the day. They struck out against each other, doing whatever it took to survive. The end of days were like wildfire, and throughout the world, people desperately sought security where there was none to be had. There was nowhere to hide. Even the most remote and far-flung places within the world found themselves under siege. Entire cities burnt to the ground. Hope seemed to be lost, but miraculously, some survived. And for the next 25 years, life has struggled forward. The world now is a fractured place, but some seek to make civilization anew. Some hold on to hope. All is not lost. The sun still rises, and though the landscape is beset with the walking dead, even 25 years later, there is the thought that humanity can rise above it and forge themselves anew, perhaps stronger than they had ever been before. But that cannot be done alone. Rag and bone is the term that is used for the merchants that travel amongst the various civilizations that dot these burgeoning civilizations and settlements, called rag and bone because they will take anything and bring it to those who need it. They survive by a thread. They wander the deadly, deadly paths that no one else will walk, much like the dead themselves, hanging on, looking like bone, covered in rag. The Ender's Line uses old railway tracks. They are a group of rag and bone that have chosen to make it possible for others to follow their lead. These railway tracks connect small scattered outposts and settlements across the central United States and beyond. The Ender's Line is a lifeline in a world that now fully belongs to the dead.
Foxtrot, what's your 20? Foxtrot! Foxtrot! I need your 20! Foxtrot! Come on, do you read?
Camilla, your radio hasn't stopped blurting and blaring for the past hour. You've turned it down low enough to not draw attention to yourself. But you and the 3 other Citadel soldiers that you're traveling with have no intention of answering. You've made a choice this day. You've had enough. Describe yourself.
Well, I'm a late 20s, early 30s Latina woman, dark curly hair, always pulled back into a ponytail with a cap on, black shirt, larger oversized shirt because I needed to hide something that may be protruding out of my belly.
You are, in fact, pregnant.
Yeah.
How far along are you?
A guess estimate of between 5 and 6 months, so enough to kind of show it, but not far along enough that it's going to come out right away.
You're standing there. The 3 others with you have toured on a number of the outpost outreach jobs that you have been given by your collective survival group. It's known as the Citadel. The Citadel is a military organization that comprises mostly former military that have banded together in this post-apocalyptic landscape. Many of the ethos and mentalities and training regimes of the military standard have been brought over to the Citadel. It has forged itself into a very survivable series of communities. Not just one unit of survival, but many, scattered throughout what was once known as Pennsylvania. Just to the north of central Pennsylvania, a couple days travel outside of what was once known as Pittsburgh, is a former military base. At the time, before the fall, it was used by reserve forces to train and to prepare themselves so that they may be able to be close to home when they would attend these seminars and training updates that they would have to go through as soldiers scattered across the central United States. This place has become the central capital of the territory that the Citadel has carved out of a very deadly region. It is surrounded by the dead, but thanks to the endless work of the Citadel, it has become much safer. And many of the other communities that have cropped up on the outside of this group have managed to put together a network of support. The Citadel provides protection. It provides equipment, survival necessities, food where it is needed, clean water. And if anyone should step upon that territory and threaten any individual within that community, the Citadel would show up in force. It is how the Citadel has always operated. They have been very helpful to those who know how to toe the line, to follow the set regime that they put forth. If you serve the Citadel serves you. That said, there is a cruelty, an unforgiving nature that is tied to the Citadel. It is harsh. And while the world is harsh, and some would argue that this is what is needed to be able to make it through the end of days, you've seen things, far too many things, to make you feel at ease with what the Citadel ultimately stands for. To murder is a commonplace instant in this world. To have to do so that you move forward surviving, living another day, because someone has a gun to your head, or someone has threatened to take the resources that you need, to poison wells, to steal food. There is no other way. There are times when an iron fist is needed. But the lieutenants of the Citadel, a number of individuals that you've grown to know all too well, have taken leadership's role, and they speak still to command, who hides behind locked doors, unseen by anyone within the Citadel for years and years. Consistently, you've seen torture. You've seen hatred, manipulation, theft. The Citadel has swayed from what it once stood for in your eyes. It has proven itself willing to do things that are far too cruel to be spoken of. It is less of a burning hope, a beacon in the darkness, and now more of a regime. Forming a new government where authority is not questioned. And you want more for your unborn child. There are 3 soldiers with you. One, strong, shaved head, pale skin. His name is Wilson, a private. He was raised at the Citadel. Wide-eyed, naive. He would do anything that you asked. You've long suspected that he harbored a crush. While unrequited, you can see it in his eyes. But he's useful. He's strong, and he's loyal. You know you can trust him. While he's younger than you are, and has very little understanding of the world outside the Citadel, in a fight, he does what needs to be done. Donner. She's smart. Before you left, she was in charge of the majority of the electrical upgrades that were being placed into the barracks. They'd given her a workshop, a place that she could call her own. They'd salvaged a large number of very important tools, things that you could only imagine came from the world before. You were in a strange place. You were just a child when everything fell. But you had a military family. You were able to survive longer than most. Eventually, though, all roads led to the Citadel. Now your family's gone, but a new one took its place, the Citadel. Donner is smart. Maybe not as loyal as Wilson, but certainly fed up with everything that's happening at the Citadel. Despite her intelligence, she has been ignored. Promotions have passed by her. And at the Citadel, a promotion means good quarters, good food. Privates typically eat kibble, little more than dog food. Those who serve and protect, who do their jobs and prove themselves worthy, get upgraded rations. And so you work your way up the line. You are a sergeant, just below the lieutenants. You were being groomed, alongside a few others. Hopes were high. The last individual with you is another woman, but this one, she's small. Smaller than you would expect to be a Citadel soldier. Softer than most, carrying a little more weight than a soldier might. She's quick, however, and she's skilled. She's a demolitions expert. Her name is Maria. She has always listened to you. You share certain cultural backgrounds that have made things easier for both of you. She wasn't going to let you do this alone. And while she had a very strong position within the Citadel, she made the choice to stand by you and to walk away from a safe, secure life to protect you and your baby. Maria, Wilson, and Donner, 3 soldiers that alongside you have gone AWOL. The radio continues to squawk.
Foxtrot, we are searching the area. We are not giving up on you. I'm telling you right now, you had better be in a ditch somewhere bleeding hard. I got rigs breathing down my neck, and I'm telling you right now, you don't want to be on the other end of the lieutenant's rage right now. Don't break protocol. I don't want to hear anything about where you're at specifically, but I expect a report. ASAP.
Okay, we gotta get as far away from the Citadel as possible so we can get out of radio range. They're gonna find us faster than we can possibly think. Wilson, where are we at on tracking? Where are we going?
I think we're gonna be okay. I'm watching a little further here. I've got this trail map. I got it from Faith's quarters. They're pretty accurate.
Okay. Is there any sort of cover that we can get into? Any sort of bunker or hideout?
Yeah. There's a cabin here that's been marked. It's up in the mountainous area, just about an hour and a half's mark, probably north. If we stay true that direction, I think we're going to be able to find this marked cabin here. And he shows you the map, and Donner and Maria kind of look at each other and then back to you. They seem to be on edge. They know what's coming. They're watching the horizon line. You have spent many, many years working with the Citadel. You often send small units out to collect tariffs from the neighboring settlements, to gather resources, to track down any survivors that might be stupid enough to just traipse across your territory, take what they have and give them a choice. You know that there are other patrols out here. If you're out in the open, you're in danger, and they seem to be on edge.
Donna, Maria, what's going on here?
Yeah. I think we might be in for it. It's not going to be long. I know that Rowan's got a patrol that comes through this area. Shit. We don't have to go to Wilson's cabin, but we sure as fuck can't stay here. I'm telling you now. We got to make a move. What do you want to do?
I need cover, so I think our best bet is to get to that cabin as fast as possible. Most efficient way.
You got it, Sergeant. Okay, let's move out. The rest of them gathered the small amount of equipment that they had spread out before them. Your break is over. It's time to move. You begin moving through the heavy tree line that leads up to this cabin. And soon enough, you lose daylight. It becomes dark. Of course, you run across your fair share of roamers as the Romeros continue to sputter and clog up the roads and trails of this forest. Nothing to be unexpected. You handle them very quickly. What do you fight with, Camila?
Well, I'm a artillery expert type person, so I'm actually going to be shooting far away with my rifle, just doing some sniper shots, taking them out as best as possible.
You clear the area. Wilson takes the point and ensures that nothing gets through. He's got a large makeshift shield that has been built out of a number of old rusted street signs that have been welded together. One of them is the lid to a military container. He's good with it. He's able to sort of plow through the area. Mm-hmm. Although, as you move forward into the woods, it becomes clear. Someone's tracking you.
shit. All right, everyone, I need you to check all perimeters. We need to make sure that there's no one else following us.
You are not using the radio, correct? You're whispering this to those around you?
Mm-hmm.
Understood. While all of you are carrying radios, most of you have gone silent. The four of you are scattered throughout the woods. You're behind Wilson, taking a shot here and there, clearing out the Romeros as you continue to push forward. Both Donner and Maria have taken flanks. You managed to clean out a good amount of the armory before you left. If you can get out just a little further, you have food and supplies to last you for at least a couple of months until you find the survival community that you're looking for. You know they're out there somewhere, and you know there are individuals that believe as you do. You've seen them. The Ender's line. Gunshots ring out as Donner clears a number of the dead. But your intuition was correct. Donner spins backwards like a rag doll as a ragged arrow pierces through her head, right between the eyes. She falls to the ground, lost to the debris and the brush of the forest around you. What do you do?
I'm gonna wheel around, probably position myself with as best cover as possible, and I'm gonna try to take a shot at in the direction where I saw the arrow coming from. Did I see
You
where the
wheel
arrow's coming
around.
from?
Yeah, you wheel
Okay.
around and you try to fire. I'd like for you to make a spot listen roll for me. If you succeed at that, then I will allow you to take your shot with your long rifle.
So just keep your kit none, correct?
Your gear should be a ×3 modifier. You're using Citadel brand weaponry, which has been maintained and well built.
Okay.
It will give you a benefit.
So would pistol be okay? It's giving me a list of all the things. I apologize, still learning this.
No, that's
part of it.
okay. It's a new system, so allow me to help you out here.
Okay.
So, Camilla wheels around and fires her sniper rifle. You are going to first make a spot listen roll. So on your character sheet, if you look down,
Mhm.
you're going to see a number of skills, one of which is spot listen. You do have recon gear and you have been using it, so you have a ×3 modifier. If you click that, it should ask you for the multiplier. You enter the multiplier and then it rolls for you.
Got it.
And that roll will determine whether or not you're able to specifically call out where this individual is who fired the arrow.
Did it?
Once you've done that, we're going to have you return fire.
I don't think it worked. Let's try that again.
For the moment, I can roll for you if you like.
Try one more time. I did roll, but it seemed to not clear through, so
That's all right.
yeah, it's not coming through. Please roll for me, sir.
Yeah, no problem. So you have a spot listen. Your spot listen is a 52. So you have a 50-50 chance just to begin with. Given the fact that you are using the multiplier, that does adjust this. You have 1 degree of failure on your spot listen, as you were not expecting someone to be shooting an arrow from the tree line. Also, you're surrounded by those remnants of Romeros, the dead that are scattered about, that are lumbering closer and closer as individuals continue to try to shoot amongst all of you. Go ahead and make a choice. You can fail, or if you wish, you can choose to spend some of your competency, and in doing Camila, you spin around, rifle in your hand, uncertain of where the arrows come from. Lying dead at your feet now, Donner, a private within the Citadel, lies dead. The arrow shaft has penetrated her skull and juts out, and you see the handmade nature of the weapon. It is white quilled and painted with red. As you scour the tree line, you are unable to see where it came from. You have 1 degree of failure. Do you wish to use any of your competency at this point to mitigate your 1 degree of failure.
Yes, I'd like to do that.
How many competency would you like to spend?
Is it 1 for 1, I'm assuming?
1 competency, if you spend a single competency, will create a wash, which means that nothing happens. You do not succeed, but you do not fail, which means that I will not tell you exactly where the individual is. You would have to spend 2.
Copy that, I would do 2.
Okay, so you spend 2 competency points to be able to succeed here and to be able to identify the individual in the tree line. And as you scour across it, you do see a ragged figure, a mass of fur and leather, a hooded shape, standing with a handmade bow, another arrow nocked. Do you wish to fire?
Absolutely.
You're going to use your long gun now, and since you are well trained within the Citadel and using Citadel armament, you are going to have a 3 times modifier. I would ask that you make that roll now.
There it is. Can I ask again, what is the multiplier for the long gun?
Times 3.
Copy that, thank you.
You fire. However, the figure sees you and falls backwards immediately. You have 2 degrees of failure. Do you wish to mitigate that with your competency? I will remind you, this is all the competency that you have for this game.
No, I'm gonna leave that alone.
All right. Your shot is wide. It's unlike you, but at the same time, you've prevented that individual from firing again. They drop into the tree line, and then it happens. You hear a snapping noise, steel, spring, and a scream. Wilson drops to the ground. Ah!
Shit.
He's lying on the ground, and you see now, in the dark moonlight, a glint of rusted metal. He's stepped into a bear trap.
Oh my god. I'm gonna try to pry it open. I'm gonna try to find places where I can like hold on that it doesn't hurt me.
You may do so. I'll have you make a lift pull check. There are no modifiers here. You're doing this with your bare hands. This bear trap is enormous. It's rusted, and you know that Wilson's leg has been broken by it. Wilson drops to the ground. The bear trap snaps shut, and there is the cracking of bone audible throughout the trees that you are surrounded by. Camilla, 2 now of the soldiers that have traveled with you have fallen from an outside force that is targeting you. There are still the walking dead surrounding you. 2 Romeros lumber just 15 or 20 feet away from Wilson, and he's not going anywhere. Their tight, gray, slick skin has pulled close to the bone. The dead out here in the wild, they don't age or rot like a normal corpse does. They become strange, half-living monstrosities. Their lips have pulled back, and you see the white of their teeth. Their eye sockets are deep. However, there are these white glazed over patches where their pupils once were. There are ribs showing in a tear of one of them. They're mostly nude, but they have become androgynous over the years as the elements have slowly worn away any semblance of humanity. They have legs and arms and a face and an endless hunger for human flesh. The two Romeros stumble forward, closing in on Wilson as you attempt desperately to pull the bear trap open. You have 3 degrees of failure on that roll. How many competency points do you have remaining?
I think I've used up, or I have 1. I think I used them up though.
You have 1 competency remaining
1
for the
left. Okay.
for the
Yeah.
entire session.
I'm gonna hold on to that, and I'm gonna look at Wilson, say lo siento, lo siento, lo siento, and I'm gonna like back away, holding onto my belly.
He looks at you and knows what's coming. There's a strength in his eyes as he pushes you back. And he turns, ready to face the dead as they fall upon him. He throws his shield up and he starts to hack at them with a machete, a well-made citadel sword. They have holes carved into them, and they have been crafted by the blacksmiths within the community. They're forged black steel, deadly weapons when used correctly, and in close combats they are useful. Wilson is strong and kills the 2 Romeros. They drop to the ground, but there are 4 more headed towards him. You pull back. You feel Maria grab onto your arm and pull. She looks to you, she looks at the tree line. And in Spanish, she says to you, "Run for the cabin. Take care of the child. Remember us." And she starts firing. What do you do?
I'm still clutching on my belly, and I'm gonna start making my run towards the cabin.
Vámonos, mío. More gunshots. You lose sight of Maria. You hear Wilson screaming as he continues to hack, anger and rage and pain in his voice. You lose sight of them as you run. It's hard. You feel the growing life inside of you. It gives you strength. It gives you determination. You continue to move forward. You push past the fear. There are sounds in the trees above you, and you know that they're not the dead. Another corpse ends up in front of you, and you shove the Romero out of your way. It falls. You continue to push forward, up a steep incline, scrambling through the dirt. Your equipment, your heavy backpack, all of it is weighing you down. Do you get rid of any of it, or do you continue to run with everything that you've brought with you?
I'm gonna try to run as best as I can with this stuff.
You continue forward, carrying with you the heavy pack. You stumble. You continue to run. I would like for you to make an endurance check for me, with 2 black dice of difficulty. I've imposed an additional black die due to your precarious situation. I'm sorry, Camilla. That is 5 degrees of failure. You have a few options. Let's discuss them. You have no competency to turn this into anything other than a catastrophic failure. So, what I propose is that you continue to run forward, but you realize too late that carrying the pack was a mistake, that it's slowing you down, and that your ability to sprint has been horribly overestimated by yourself. You've been running for 5 minutes straight, and it's taken its toll. I'm going to say that you stop, unable to continue forward, panting heavily, but you are not at the cabin. And I will also say that it will take you a number of minutes to regain your breath, and that will be determined by another roll. I want you to make a composure check. But before you do, You also have 3 black dice of difficulty added to that die roll as well. You lean against a tree as your legs begin to fall out from underneath you. You feel fire across your muscles. You're unable to do anything. You feel the pain of pushing yourself too far and too hard. And despite the small life growing inside of your belly, you know you can't go forward. And if it wasn't for your hand falling onto your swollen belly, you might have given up. You have 1 degree of failure on your composure roll. Something grabs you from behind. Reaching around the tree, you feel dirty hands on your arms. As you get pulled close to the tree, your arms wrapped around the back of it, you feel lashes of leather being tied. Do you fight against this?
Yes.
Make a lift pull. 1 black die of difficulty due to your failure before. You're exhausted. Your hands are pulled to the other side of the tree by a number of individuals. It's more than 1. I'm sorry to say you have 5 degrees of failure on this lift pull as well. And as you fight against them, you feel your shoulder pull out of its socket and the leather straps tied very tightly. You're going nowhere. You're unable to move. Your pack is on the ground. Your gun is at your feet. You have your sidearm, your pistol, but you can't reach it. 2 silhouettes appear from your right and your left. Hunched figures covered in ragged fur and leather. And as they pass by, you see their leather coats are made from human skin. There are faces that are screaming eternally out at you, peeled from the victims of these ravengers, these marauders. They are filthy and they smell. You want to vomit from the scent that is kicked from their bodies as they move close. They smell unwashed and sweaty and like animals almost, only much muskier and foul. They're carrying with them jagged knives that are formed out of broken blades from what looks like farm equipment. The handles are made from the bone and the antlers of fallen animals, prey that they've taken. They're covered in small, clattering trophies, teeth and bones, some animal, some human. One of them looks towards you, and underneath their hood, you see a human skull that has been reformed into a mask. And beneath it, dirty eyes that glint with a slick wetness. They pass around you like hungry animals, like wolves stalking a deer. They walk in circles around you twice, and then you hear it, the breaking of branches, and a large armored bear appears from the tree line. A black bear. There are pieces of leather and metal plates that have been wrapped across this figure, and a small hunched figure, much smaller than the other 2, is riding on top of it. The figure pulls back on some reins across the bear, and the bear growls heavily. The woman drops off the side, a small, hunched old crone. And she begins walking towards you, dragging a knife behind her. It's so long that it touches the ground. She looks at you. You see her pull the hood back, and from broken teeth and a horribly wrinkled old face, she licks her lips and steps closer to you still, raising the knife. But then she stops and looks down at your belly. And she places an old withered hand onto it and looks you straight in the eye. Lampwick. Need you to make a dodge roll.
Okay.
You have 2 black dice of difficulty.
Got it.
You're falling. You had charged up the staircase to escape the black bear that had rampaged through the building, this abandoned cabin. Digger had, surprisingly, pulled the trigger on the pistol that was given to him from Kusanagi, killing the old woman on the top of it. She's now dragged behind it, like a rag doll, tossed aside by an angry toddler. This armored black bear broke across the banister. Kusanagi and Digger were left behind as you continued to run, and you threw all caution to the wind. You made a choice. You knew that there were traps here, but you didn't think that they would be here on the staircase. You were wrong. As the landing leading to the second floor of the cabin fell out from underneath you, the floor was false, and you began to drop. You have 1 degree of success on your dodge. Do you let that ride, or do you try to improve against the potential harm that awaits you at the bottom of the pit?
Oh, okay. So it is that. No, I'm going to put in 2 competency points. Make that 3.
All right. With 3 degrees of success, I'm going to allow you to roll in a way that throws you against the wall of this shaft and avoid the sharpened spears at the bottom of the pit. However, this does not come without a cost. Your pack is pierced through by one of the spears, and you are trapped at the bottom of the pit for the moment, as you feel it just graze across the back of your neck. I will remind you that an arrow very nearly took your eye out. It shot across your face, and you have a horrible gash across it. You're bleeding profusely from that wound still. You drop to the pit at the bottom, avoiding a fatal fall. And then you hear the entire building shake as dust and debris falls. Something like a bomb has just hit the far side of this wall, and you don't have to imagine what it is. You hear the bear roar.
Okay. I'm going to. What can I see in front of me? Is there any light at all down here?
It is pitch black. All you see is the glint from above, the flickering light that was cast by the lights that Kusanagi and Digger were using. It is a light show as the flashlights whip wildly around. You hear Kusanagi and Digger screaming. You hear gunshots. You're not sure what happens next, but you know they don't have much time.
Did I fall with? I was running with a flashlight.
You did, yes.
Has that made its way down? Have I been able? Is it still on? If it fell with me, is it still on so I can find it?
I'm going to spend 5 risk and say that it's broken.
Got it. I'm going to.
They were fragile. They're large batteries that have been handcrafted, and falling from that height, it didn't make it.
Then what I'm going to do at this moment then is I'm going to just get upright against the wall of where I am, and I'm going to listen really fucking hard to hear if there might be something else inside this pit other than me.
All right, so make a spot listen check for me, Lampwick. No degrees of, or no dice of difficulty are going to be added to that roll.
Gotcha. Okay. All right.
With 2 degrees of failure, if you choose to leave them as is, I will tell you that you have no idea if you're alone or what is in this pit with you.
Great. With that, then I'm gonna get up right up against the wall and try to like be as still as possible.
Very well. Make a stealth check for me.
Okay.
I will give you an additional success. So you have 1 degree of success just to start with, because it is so dark at the bottom of this pit. And if you don't move and don't do anything at all, it's very likely that you'll succeed, unless you roll horribly. We'll see. That's a good thing. I'm going to allow that to be the single degree of success. So you have pressed up against the wall, and you believe, undetected by anything that might be nearby. You hear screams, more gunshot, running, another scream. The bear strikes again, another roar, the breaking of wood. Everything is quiet. Do you stay in the pit, Lampwick?
If everything is quiet, I'm afraid of what if any little noise that I make will draw attention to me. So I'm going to stay pressed up against the wall just as I am, and I'm going to try to stay as quiet as possible and listen really hard.
How long are you willing to do that, Lampwick?
For as long as it takes, for a few minutes at least, to make sure that I can have a sense of what may have happened up there
I need
and
you
what
to
might be
make
down here.
a composure roll.
You got it.
There is sound of creaking boards above, heavy groaning wood. Something is stalking above. You have a single degree of failure on your composure. Do you wish to ride that out?
I would like to keep my composure. It seems like this is a vital moment, so I will use 2 competency points and make that a single success.
There is another groan. Above you, something heavy is on the staircase. You see the silhouette of the bear's head peeking out from the hole that you're deep within. It sniffs heavily in the air. And then it turns back around. The stairs groan The cabin floor creaks heavily. Something is being dragged behind the bear. You realize now it's the body of the old woman still tethered to that thing. Digger shot her right between the eyes. She won't be coming back as a Romero, but she may remain as a grim trophy to this bear as it continues out back into the wilderness. Lampwick, do you recall what you saw when you looked through the window before the bear attacked, before Digger's shot?
I do. I saw silhouettes of figures in it. I can't recall if it looked like they were approaching, but at least it gave me the impression that they might.
The hunters, the marauders, they were closing in on all of you. You had taken this cabin, tried to shelter yourself within it. They'd been toying with you since the ATV. However, hiding in that pit, you know something that they don't. You've got friends somewhere on the outside. Achira, you're in a tree. You did what you could. You ran across Digger. You understood that he was being chased. He was wounded. Still, obviously, you had done what you could to repair his leg as one of the bear traps had nearly pulled it off of his body. You weren't going to let all that good work go to waste, and if there's anyone in this group of survivors that you feel a kinship to, it's been Digger recently. After your ordeal at the Citadel, it was nice to have someone around who wasn't one of them. Now, you were trying to buy time. He'd warned you. There's one of these marauders that has a pair of wolves tethered to them, and that they were stalking him, tracking him, toying with him. They could have killed him, but they didn't. They were trying to round everyone up into the cabin. You had made the wise choice to remain outside of the cabin, to offer support from afar, to do what you could. Quickly enough, however, you didn't have a choice either way. There are many of them. You're counting probably 20. And another bear. You have yet to see the marauder with wolves make their way into the open. But you do hear howls in the tree line. And there's a strange number of ravens that are flocking in the trees. And as you move about, they kick up and create a disturbance. And so you've started to move more quickly and quietly, trying very hard to prevent any disturbance that might tell the others as to where you are exactly. If these wild people find you, you know what awaits you. They're cannibals. They're hunting right now. They want their meat fresh. They want, you think, to take as many alive as possible. And while a good number of the soldiers that were traveling with you are now dead, you know that they've earmarked all of you for the long winter ahead. What is your intention?
20? Wow.
20 silhouettes that you count now.
Those are that's the kind of number that you run away from and come back another day. I mean, 10 is 20? Achira's thinking this as she's looking in the distance at the cabin, at these silhouettes, these cannibals. The thing that's crossing in her mind is that if these are, well, they are, an animalistic people, then more than likely they will kowtow to anyone who takes their leader down. Or at least, you know, kind of like the alpha taking the alpha, like from what she can remember from National Geographic back before the world fell, that seemed to be a predominant thing that happened. Maybe it would work this time.
Make no mistake. You've seen how they operate. At first, there was only a handful of them, and they unleashed a grizzly bear onto your group because you were traveling in an ATV. You and the soldiers that you were traveling with from the Citadel were able to fend them off, nearly killing them all. One of them escaped. They came back with a vengeance. They aren't stupid. They may be wild. They may be somewhat totemistic in the way that they appear. They clearly have a very close connection to nature. They've foregone any pretense of civilization as we have ever known it. But that doesn't mean that they're uncivilized. They have a method, and they are very good at what they do.
This is such a get out of Dodge situation. Like, this is, Nox, this is so fucked right now.
It gets more fucked. You see the flash of a muzzle from inside the cabin as the bear and the rider on the bear are under fire. The old woman riding on the top of the bear is shot square between the eyes and drops down to the ground. The bear immediately rampages forward and attacks whoever's inside the cabin. You hear screams and the flash of gunshots as flashlights whip around through the doorway as you watch from the tree line. Make a choice. Let them go or save them.
Oh. Why did they go into the cabin? Why did we go back to the cabin? It was a good idea at the time. Well. Well, let's see what kind of damage we can do. I'll do some damage and then try to get away. Achira is going to try to get to the back of the crowd that is heading towards the cabin and try to take out as many of them as she can before she's noticed, and then she will make the decision whether to stay or run then.
You're making your way around the back of the cabin. I need you to make a stealth check. No black dice of difficulty. If you have any gear on you that will help you, you may use it. This roll is crucial to your survival, though. You're not walking away.
And she should have, and I know this, but Achira, baby, we can walk away later. Let's just try this for now.
Achira seems to say that to herself more and more often these days. 1 degree of failure on your search, or I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did search.
You rolled search, so I need you to roll that again. And roll your stealth, please.
Sorry.
No worries.
That was weird. Take 1 week off and...
3 degrees of success. That's much more like what I expect from Achira. As you carefully, quietly make your way through. I'm not going to make you make any other rolls as long as you stay within the tree line. I will warn you once again, these birds, these carrion birds, follow after these groups, hoping for a meal. And you think that they use them. If you disturb them in any way, they'll know where you are. Do you understand?
I understand that. And how resourceful of them. There's a glimmer of respect for them. But not much. They hunt people. We barely have enough people in this world as it is.
That is very true. The fact that they've gathered this many people together and that they live this life, it's a miracle, really. You've gone months without seeing another living soul when you were on your own. The Ender's Line offered you the opportunity to connect with others who had pooled together. Most communities are 15 to 20 people if they're strong. Some are just a small, self-made family, scratching at the earth, hoping for survival. This group, they could do great things, and perhaps they are. But it comes with a great horror. They are eating humanity while it dies around them. You've made your way to the back, and you see something. The cabin has a network of very roughly built structures that are connected to it. Just below a ridgeline, like a cliff. Tunnels, passageways that lead back to something else. And on the far end of the tree line, Achira, in the fog that surrounds you, you see the glow of firelight in the distance, and you hear drums. Faith, everything's gone wrong. When you first entered into the cabin, you were the first one through the door. You, your brother Omar, and Rowan are good. The best, actually. You're able to clear and sweep an area with military precision as you've been trained. Your entire life, you have been sculpted into a soldier. You're proud of who you are. However, this went foobar much faster than it should have. You knew about the first trap. You were trying to disarm the alarm. It was a noisemaker. Fairly innocuous, but it would have alerted others to your presence. It would have broken some glass bottles, it would have rattled some tin cans. But then you realized that there was a secondary trap tied to that first tripwire. It was meant to be disarmed and to trigger the second trap. They're very smart. Rowan shot forward, grabbing at that last tether right before it triggered. She wasn't fast enough, though. And as she grabbed at it, you saw her getting further and further away from you as the floor under the rug that you were standing on fell, and you dropped down 20 feet to a dirt floor underneath the cabin. I need you to make a dodge roll for me, please, Faith, to avoid the spears that are connected to that pit.
Oh, cool.
And you'll be happy to know Lampwick is aware of this pit and has already explored it.
That's... first roll for me.
1 degree of failure is not so bad considering your situation. Do you want to use any competency to prevent yourself from being speared here?
Yes, I will go ahead and use 2 to make that 1 success, please.
Okay, so 1 success is going to allow you to be able to roll in a way that avoids the spears. There are a lot of them, they're jagged, but you lean backwards onto your pack and you watch as it pierces through your backpack, which has a knapsack and a bedroll in it. The bedroll shreds as you fall downward, and you almost twist your ankle. You feel a thud, and you almost lose consciousness as your head hits the ground. But you made it. You weren't killed here.
Oh, cool. Just holes, huh? We're doing holes and spears now. This is...
Faith, I need you to stay put. Rowan is above you, shouting down into the hole. You see her flashlight as she scans across the spears around you. You can see that she's got her pistol in her hand, and she's ready to fire should anything begin moving. All right, it looks like you're clear. You're not gonna...
Should I climb back up or explore this weird-ass cave?
You're not gonna climb back up here. I don't think you're gonna be able to. All right, you're gonna have to go back. Omar and I are gonna head out the back. We're gonna try to figure out where you're gonna come out at. I hate to say it, but look, kid, these people are fucked up. They do a lot of fucked up things.
Yeah.
Don't hesitate. And unless you see one of us, you just fire first.
Yes, ma'am.
That's an order. I'll see you in 5 minutes, soldier. And she turns, and Omar and her begin pulling through. As you pull yourself off your pack, do you try to pull your pack off the spear, or do you leave it behind?
I leave
You
it.
will. You're going to abandon your equipment.
Well, how much equipment's in there? You said it was a sleeping pack. Is it just sleeping stuff, or is
Well,
it like
your
my
your
actual-
pack is there. You can take some of your things out if there's a couple of things that you want with you, but without your backpack, you're not going to be able to easily carry everything that you have.
Ah, fuck. I try to take the backpack off the spears so carefully,
All right.
in a way which I will not cut myself at all.
I understand what you're trying to do. They are fairly tall, they're jagged, and they are very barbed. So these have been put here. They have been made specifically to spear through anybody who would fall. And you did a very good thing in rolling out of the way of them. That doesn't mean that you've escaped the danger of them, however, as they are jagged all the way around. And there's rusted old farm barbed wire wrapping around the shaft. So make a lift pull for me. And 1 black die of difficulty needs to be added to that as you work in the dark to pry your backpack free.
Alright.
If you wish to, you can abandon your gear. You don't need to. You have 3 degrees of success, which is more than enough to successfully retrieve all of your equipment, and minus a hole in your sleeping sack, you're going to be all right now. Your bedroll has been pierced through, but otherwise everything is as it was. You're very lucky. Now then, you're in the dark and you feel these spears all around you. They're about 6 inches apart from each other, except for the edges of the wall. How do you wish to proceed?
Try to stay as towards the middle of the pathway as I can. I'm gonna use. Do I have a light on me? I don't.
You don't have a light on you. You had the light
right.
being
Just
held
the
by
light's coming
Rowan. Yeah.
in.
So if you have a flashlight with you, you can turn it on.
I don't believe I do have one. I'm going to proceed forward using, I'll say my long gun pointed in front of me so that in case I run into anything, I'll stop.
All right. Do you have 25 survival points?
Yeah, I do.
Do you want a box of matches or a old lighter?
I mean, as long as it's not a like methane tunnel, I'll say a lighter would be great.
You have a very old Zippo that belonged to Riggs. He gave it to you. It's got a woman on the side who's riding a bomb, like a kicking bull, and she's got a cowboy hat in one hand, and the figure is really aged. And it says on the lighter on the Zippo, it says "Don't mess with Texas." You have no idea what that means.
I don't know what a Texas is. That's correct.
So you spark the lighter, and you have a small flame in front of you as you push forward with your rifle out, so that it helps to help you see a little ahead of you. The light is dim. These spears are everywhere. Go ahead and make a dodge roll for me as you press forward towards the far wall. You're passing in between these spears, and they're very close to you. You feel them brushing against your skin and snagging against your gear. You manage to do so without being cut. There's a wet slickness on the floor here. You're standing in a puddle. You put your lighter down just a little to see what it is, and it's not water. It's blood, and it's fairly fresh.
Okay, so a sharp tunnel with blood. This is looking great.
You move across to the far end of the pit, and you see your only exit. A small, dirt-carved shaft. You'll have to crawl. and you won't be able to have your backpack on. You'll have to push it ahead of you or drag it behind you. Which would you like to do, Faith?
I'm gonna push it in front of me as sort of protection for my head, I guess.
You duck down. You push the pack in front of you. Make a lift pull as you begin climbing down this tight, claustrophobic hole. You're
Very
on
lucky
fire,
right now.
Faith.
Oof.
1 degree of success, you move through the tunnel without any issue. Something starts dragging a little, though, as you push the pack forward. And you realize that you've run over a tripwire, but nothing's happened. It must have rotted away with age. You're very lucky. You're not sure what the tripwire led to within this tunnel, but you suspect that the entire thing could have caved in on you.
Well, I hope I have someone out there to thank for that.
As you push your bag out from the far side of this tunnel, it drops to the ground about 10 feet below you. You see a small, dirt-carved room that has wooden planks, old and ragged looking, that have lined this wall to help create a retention wall against the dirt. You're still underground. This is a cavernous type basement that has been crudely scratched out of the earth. There's a table here. It's dark. The flicker of your flame from your lighter gives you very little illumination to be able to see everything. There are shapes on the table. There's something hanging from the ceiling. A lot of something hanging from the ceiling. What is your intention?
I don't want to look, but I'm gonna go look and see what that thing is hanging from the ceiling. Is it related to human organs, I wonder?
You push forward. You see a face, but it's not attached to a body. Skin in strips hangs on hooks from the ceiling, wet and dripping. You now smell the space. There are flies everywhere. It smells like urine. And you realize that they're tanning human skin in this room. There are large vats that have been dug into the ground, and there are things floating in liquid. Do you leave the hole and come down?
Yes.
You jump down. I need you to make a jump leap.
So gross. I don't want to do this though. Where's my jump? There it is. Oh man! I'm squeezing all the luck out of roll 20 today. Oh.
You land on your feet with military precision, a 3-point landing, dropping from the hole. Lighter still lit, you scour across everything in front of you. A rat runs out in front of you, squealing as you have shocked it out of its hiding place. The smell is even worse down here. Your backpack is next to you unharmed. You see these vats. Urine and blood. Human flesh is floating in them. There's also animal bones and furs. And that's when you see movement in the far side of the room. We're going to take a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Hunters Entertainment on Twitch.tv. My name is Knoxweiler Burf, and I am the Game Master of Outbreak, Undead, Rag, and Bone. If you're just joining us, don't worry, you're just in time. We are walking through the dark woods with our survivors as they make choices to continue on their pathway. You'll catch up fairly quickly, and I'm excited to see what happens next, so join us as we move forward. Faith, I need you to make a spot listen check now.
Yes, sir.
You have dropped down from the tight tunnel that has led you from underneath the cabin to discover a strange shack-like room that has been built under the ground. You have 3 degrees of success, proving once again that tonight at least, Faith cannot be stopped. The figure that's on the far corner of this chamber, this tannery, as human flesh hangs from hooks above you. A pool of blood and a pool of urine are in front of you in these large vats that have been dug into the ground. The place reeks, and there are flies and rats. There was a figure that was beginning to move.
Hey.
There's a woman.
Hey, you a person or a not a dead one or what who are you?
Camilla, you have a gag in your mouth. Your hands are tied behind your back, and they are tied to your ankle. There is a woman. She looks, at first, like Citadel, and then you recognize her. It's Faith. They found you.
Help me!
It's a woman in the far corner that has been tied. You swing your lighter flame a little closer to the back side of the room. It's a familiar face. You thought she was dead. This is unexpected. Camilla, from the Citadel. She's been gone for a few weeks.
Camila, is that you? Okay, well, we need to establish the gag thing. All right. I go over and I want to ungag her.
You move forward. You remove the gag. You can breathe a little better now, Camilla, but you wish almost that you weren't able to. The smell of this place has been choking your lungs for weeks. They don't always keep you in here, but they have quickly pushed you back here a few hours ago. They've tethered you to the wall. There's a lot of them. They haven't harmed you the whole time that they've had you. They feed you, though you're very loath to eat anything that they give you. Meat. But you've survived. You've done what you needed to do. You're still here. And while it's the Citadel that has found you, anything's better than this.
Faith, can you help me get out of this stuff? I've only been here a few hours and it's really horrible here.
Yeah, this is you're basically gonna get eaten. By the way, these people eat other people. We figured that out. We thought you were dead. I mean, I guess probably maybe soon. I help Camilla with her bonds. If I can.
You cut her free. They're leather straps, handmade, that have been woven together into a makeshift rope that's very strong, and then tied to a hook that has been inset into stone in the wall. It's very sturdy.
So how long have you been down here?
Just a few hours. My whole team, they're gone, and it's just not me. I'm not the only one that I'm protecting right now. I just really need to get up.
Oh,
Faith,
listen, this is yes.
You know things You know a lot of things about the way that the Citadel operates. You know a lot about the personnel that work around all of the different units that make up what the Citadel does. Camila has been marked a deserter, having gone AWOL, a traitor to the Citadel. They assumed that she was dead. You see, Maria and Donner's bodies were found. What was left of them? They had been skinned. The meat stripped off their body. All that was left were bones and their equipment, their packs, including Camilla's pack. The worst was assumed. And it certainly accounted for Riggs' bad attitude this past month, because Riggs is the father of Camilla's child.
Camilla, I mean, I'm glad you're alive, I guess, but, like, you fucking deserted us. Why did you leave?
Fucking with child. You think I want to raise my child in the Citadel?
Oh, okay, well, to be fair, I was raised by the Citadel. I think I came out pretty okay.
So was I. I don't want my child to be one of us. I don't want them to be a natural born killer. You know how bad it is there, Faith.
It's fine. What are you talking about? I don't. If you're gonna, obviously, as soon as you left, you almost died. Look you're in a meat factory. This is not better than what we had going on back at the Citadel, and I think it was pretty good. Look, man, Riggs is super fucking pissed. Maybe if you just go back and apologize, then, we can take care of you. This is not the way.
Apologize to Riggs. Do you know what happens when people apologize?
Yeah. I mean, you kind of did this to yourself. I don't know what to say to you. I don't want you to die here, but I gotta take you back. There's orders out for you. Rowan's here too. The whole bunch of us are here. They're all upstairs.
You're really gonna take me back?
If I don't, one of these guys will. If it's not me, Ron will do it. If she doesn't do it, there's other guards up there.
Somewhere in the distance, there's the sound of muted gunshot.
Well.
And the roar of a bear.
Is there another fucking bear here?
Fuck, you came across one of those too?
Okay, look, I saw like one bear. I did not think there was gonna be multiple bears on this stupid fucking adventure that we decided to go on to find goddamn what?
Fucking help me get out of here. You know I'm a good shot. You know I can get us out.
I gotta take you in. I mean, I'm not gonna take you up there with tied up or anything, but like, just come on, just agree to go back with me and we'll figure it out.
I'm not going back there.
Do you not want to go back, or? Okay.
Do you know what I have to put up with being a pregnant woman there? Do you understand that the medication is not the greatest? Or the treatment?
Yeah, but there's nothing else going on out here in the wild with people who eat other humans. This seems like a lot worse.
You've been held captive here for 3 weeks.
Look, let's talk about this later. I'm not the best person in the group to do diplomatic relations with the person who left, my roommate. But I would like to get out of here alive. I just fell down this spiky hole. I got very lucky, did not die. Hit a trap, did not die, so I'm doing pretty good. Yes, I could use another shot. A good shot. And, whatever. If it helps me survive and get us out of here.
If I get us out of here, you're not taking me back there.
How about we table this conversation? Or I could just leave you here. That's the whole other thing.
We'll table it.
As the two of you argue in the middle of a tannery, Lampwick, everything's quiet. been 20 minutes. What do you want to do?
Oh my God, okay. I'm gonna start to move around the perimeter of, like, very carefully kind of scoot around and kind of feel with my hands. I know there's spikes here. I felt one. My pack is caught on one. Did that happen to me as well?
If you want your pack back, you're going to have to pull it free.
I'm gonna try to pull it free. I need it.
Make a lift
stuff.
pull check for me with 1 black die of difficulty.
Okay.
You feel the jagged spikes within this pit. They're 6 inches apart from each other. It's very hard to maneuver around. You start to pull the pack upward. And you manage to do so. Just barely. There's a tearing noise, but you do manage to retrieve your pack. Most of your equipment has been unharmed.
All right. I'll take inventory later. I'll gather that pack and I'll start to very carefully move around and feeling the space so that I don't run into something sharp, and carefully stepping too. So it's okay if it takes a little while, but I'm gonna try to see if there's if I'm in a completely enclosed pit, or if this is shaped differently down here.
You start moving through the dark. There's a crunching noise under your feet. The ground is uneven, scattered with something brittle.
Does it feel like the brittle stuff is like twigs, or is it more, I don't know, dense?
It's more dense than twigs.
It's probably bones. Maybe. I'm just gonna keep trying to get a sense of this pit.
As you move forward, you kick something that rolls across the back half of this chamber. It hits the far wall, and there's a rumble as an entire portion of this pit collapses inward.
Oh, crap.
But luckily, you were far enough away from it that it didn't harm you. You feel now air on your face and the horrible smell of urine.
But there's air, so that means there's got to be a way out. I carefully head towards what I think might be a passage or something.
Make a dodge check.
Okay.
You begin carefully picking yourself forward, Lampwick, moving through this dark space. You can't see anything. There's no light here. You feel the large mound of dirt that just collapsed. You're certain now that whatever bone you kicked forward saved your life, as the collapse of that amount of dirt would have buried you alive or pushed you into the spikes. You clamber over it and make it to the other side. Do you wish to carry forward with 2 degrees of failure on your dodge?
I do not. I'd like to use my remaining competency points, and I'd like to see if I can use survival points to make this a degree of success.
Interesting. How many competency points do you have left?
I have 2.
2 competency. So you would need an additional competency point to be able to turn this into a success. How many survival points do you have?
I have 145.
If you give me 50 of them, I will give you the competency point that you need.
Done.
And if it matters to you, you are in a location hazard.
Oh, I wish it did. But I don't have that skill set. Got other ones.
Indeed you do. However, you won't be talking your way out of this particular instance. So you climb over the dirt, you slide. and you stop yourself just in time. There is a sloping tunnel that has been carved out of the ground. There are beams of wood that have been propped up here to hold this structure in place. It is a very tight tunnel that has been carved underneath this cabin. It looks crude, but it seems to function its purpose. And as you slide downward, you realize that you wouldn't be able to slow yourself if you had not thrown your arms outward, hitting either side of this tunnel. As you realize there is a large, jagged blade that your feet are now touching just at head's height.
Okay. Is there a way around this blade, and can I continue forward?
You can move underneath it.
Great. I will do that.
You carefully pull yourself through. You have your bag behind you or in front of you?
It's still in this like small tunnel space, right?
Yes.
I mean, I would like to. I'd like. How much can I see? Do I? Is it completely dark in here as well, or is there any light spilling in from anywhere?
There is no light.
My God.
You're only seeing what you can feel as you push forward with your feet or your hands.
I'm gonna tie my pack around me, and it's gonna kind of trail behind me if I can manage that, because I'm gonna want to move slowly and very, very carefully feel what's in front of me.
Okay. With that, you begin moving forward. I'd like for you to make a final dodge check for me as you push your way through this tunnel.
Oh boy. Okay.
$2 degrees of failure.
Oh, not yet.
Not
No, I
yet?
haven't rolled it yet. No, that was from before. Come on, don't do that though.
1 degree of failure.
Okay,
You have no competency.
I do not.
Are you going to sit on that, or would you like to leverage your remaining survival points, knowing that they could be of use to you later?
It's a dodge. What am I dodging? Can I use enough to make this a wash?
A wash would do very little for you.
Right.
You would still be embroiled in whatever little trap sits in front of you.
Yeah.
I will say that unless you spend 100 survival points, you won't be able to turn this into a success.
I have 95 survival points.
So it seems like Lampwick is going to take a short fall.
Mm-hmm.
And as you slide forward, you realize just a moment too late that the tunnel drops immediately down. And you begin sliding.
Whoa, 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 whoa. I try to catch myself, of course, which is what
Are
somebody
you
would do.
vocalizing your fear as you fall?
Okay, look, I would like to think that under these circumstances that Lampwick is the kind of dude that would be able to keep that kind of control, and I just don't think he is. I think that he is making some grunts for sure. As he's
We
sliding
have a
down.
mechanic to help us along the way here.
We sure
Make
do.
a composure roll. I'm going to give you 1 black die of difficulty on your composure, given the situation, given everything that you've been through.
Okay. Nope. Just as
That is a 100. You've rolled a 100 on your composure roll. which is
Yes.
5 degrees of failure. You could not roll a worse roll in this game.
Right.
What do you think is appropriate here for a 100 on your composure?
I think probably for the first time in a while, I think in this confined space in the darkness on his own, I think Lampwick starts to actually lose it. Not only am I sliding down and I'm starting to like, not just grunt, but as I start being unable to catch myself in my head, I think what's ahead is absolutely a pit with a spike and I'm dead. And I think I scream.
Yes. Lampwick screams. But as you fall almost directly down, your back hits a curve of dirt and you exhale heavily
Oof.
and continue to rush forward. You've lost all control as dirt slides around you and you lose any sense of direction in this tight tunnel as you're kicked about.
I mean, yelling, no, no, no! And out of nowhere, all of a sudden, it's almost as if a kind of claustrophobia kicks in. That Lampwick, I don't think he wasn't claustrophobic, but right now, what he thinks is waiting for him is death, and he is desperate, and he is not keeping it together.
The room that you fall into is full of bone. Not just a few bones. The entire floor. You feel the snapping of bone underneath your body as you fall outward. You smell the brittle break of the calcified, aged bone, but there's wetness around it too. You're swimming in human bone. And it hurts as they jab into your side and break underneath you, rip at your clothes and your skin. 1,000 little cuts as you scramble forward, still screaming in the darkness. Lampwick, as you lose control, as the terror grabs onto your chest and threatens to crush your heart in its grasp. You hear it. Help us. Help us. Help. Help. I'm cold. 1,000 voices whispering all around you. You remember your moment in the woods when Brother Noah Hayworth showed you the secrets of the shepherds. When he opened the door and you stepped through. Here in the dark, surrounded by the long dead, you feel their grasping presence, the greedy dead who do not want to be left behind or forgotten. Like abandoned children, the whispers are getting louder in your head. You are screaming, but you don't hear yourself any longer. I'll come back to you. Achira, you're watching this network of shacks and tunnels that have been tethered together on the backside of this cabin. You see the firelight in the far distance. What do you do?
Oh. It seems the best possible thing that might help. for anyone within the cabin is distraction. The bear is still attacking the front of the cabin.
You have watched from the front as the bear wanders out, dragging the dead body of the old woman behind it. The moonlight is your friend in this situation, and you're able to assess the full situation much more clearly than you would be otherwise. However, the others that surrounded the building have begun entering it. You lose track of them slowly, and then you see it. On the roof, the old shingled, thatched roof, a figure crawling across the top of it. There's a white mask. It's moving carefully and quietly. It's not one of them. It's the shepherd guardian that has been watching over Lampwick.
My intention is to set the cabin on fire. I do have flammable materials on me in a crossbow to be able to deliver that to the roof. I want to get this being's attention first to hold up my crossbow, and then before I believe that at this point the only distraction that will work is setting this cabin on fire. And I would start from the roof, because seeing that network of tunnels and everything, and the exit that it looks like is on the backside further down, I would hope that the people that I have traveled with would know to go down, deep, and out.
Mm-hmm.
And if not, well, shit happens.
You make a hand motion. The figure
when in
immediately-
doubt, burn it,
Yeah,
as Michelle just said in chat. That
immediately,
is Achira's.
it has been
That
your
is early
strategy.
Achira right
It has been
there.
your strategy through this entire campaign, and we'll see if it doesn't do better for you this time. The individual on the roof in the white mask, that smooth, featureless white mask, the black hood, and otherwise you never would have seen the figure at all, turns to you as you make the hand motion. It follows the direction that you're pointing in and very, very subtly nods. And then it turns and moves across the roof. And you can watch, there's something that it pulls from a small pack. It breaks it open, and you can see it's pouring a string of liquid across the roof. It leaps out of sight. The sentinel disappears.
Using my, I have a small container that's filled with a flammable liquid. I'm going to use that on one of my crossbow arrows to set what this individual has laid out on the roof. I have a lighter. I will, and I know how this is gonna go. I am gonna light it and then shoot it on the roof.
So be it.
And just to do some backstory, this is a lighter that Achira stole from Lampwick in the very first episode when Lampwick chose to drop his pack on the ground, and Achira rescued it and then demanded a 10% commission.
Very fitting. The lighter that was taken may very well save Lampwick's life. Or end it. You light the bolt, load the crossbow, and you fire. All you have to do is make an attack with your crossbow. So make your bow skill roll. Or I'm sorry, did we decide that you were using your pistol for that?
Yeah, we've done pistol for
It is a Citadel weapon, so you can use your Citadel modifier.
Okay.
Certainly you can't roll as poorly as Lampwick just did.
Oh, why would you say that?
Statement of fact.
Roll 20. Don't even listen to Nox with that. It's just it's just me and you, babe.
4
Gosh,
degrees of
darn
failure.
it. Gosh, darn it.
I stand somewhat corrected. It's not quite as bad as Lampwick's roll. You are currently not in a location hazard. So before you ask, I'll make that clear.
I am very safe right now.
I will preface that with a yet.
Oh, wow. I'm going to... You know what? Why not? I'm going to use 7 competency points, which will make this 2 degrees of success, which will also zero me out.
You're
for
going
this
to
episode.
spend all of your competency on a single roll.
On a single roll. And we'll see what the dice have to say.
And that puts you at 2 degrees of success or 3? 3. Puts you at 3 degrees of success if you spend 7 because you have 4 failure.
Okay.
So 3 degrees of success, the roof is immediately set ablaze. Your plan is completely successful. And I will use the additional successes that you've generated here to trigger the effects that will protect you from the fact that you have just lit the arrow within the tree line. I have succeeded at 2 separate search skills from outside forces that are hunting you. One of them now is a failure, as the blaze causes them to lose track of where you are. The second individual, however, we'll deal with that in just a moment. You fire. The roof of the cabin immediately sets aflame. You can see motion inside of the cabin. Someone is quickly moving back and forth. There's considerable commotion that has been caused by your action. There's no sign of the silent sentinel, and you certainly hope that your allies are wise enough to find the lowest point within that structure. It continues to burn. Achira, make a stealth roll. You are now in a location hazard, and I'm spending 100 risk.
Oh. Okay.
That is a very surprising roll for Achira. That's 3 degrees of failure on a stealth roll. You have no competency unless from your location hazard, you wish to spend what you've just earned to correct that stealth roll.
The only thing I can do at this point is a wash.
That's
So,
very
you know
difficult.
what? Let's make it a wash. We never do that.
Well, if you want to make it a wash, it means that it's neither a success nor a failure. You're moving forward. You don't fall, but a branch breaks underneath your foot. It hits the ground. The ravens that were nesting in the tree that you just passed into immediately take to flight, making a horrible racket.
Where's the not a failure part of this?
You didn't fall.
Ugh. Fair enough.
You're still in the tree. You've made noise, but you're not having to fight for your life as you fall to the ground. There's movement on the ground. A shadow breaks out from the undergrowth. It's a large wolf with gray fur, covered in metal plates and leather straps. It's growling. It breathes heavily in the air around it. You see a leather strap leading into the woods.
I have a flask that is filled with bourbon and black bile of Romero. I am going to pull that flask right now. And since I have no open wounds, I'm going to coat myself and the surrounding area in it. Kind of like I did the urine in an earlier episode to keep smaller predators away from bear territory.
You douse yourself. The wolf is followed by a second wolf. They stop. They're sniffing heavily. You see that they're tethered to another shape. There's a shadowy figure. These wolves are attached to a human. Another ragged individual covered in fur and human flesh leather, with a hood over their head.
I'm gonna shoot them in the face.
The figure looks upward, and in the moonlight, you see a woman's countenance covered in dirt. She's young, but there's a feral look in her eyes. You fire upon her. Roll. You have no remaining competency. You're in a tree.
Well, no, I fell. You said I fell out of the tree, and now I have
said
these...
you did not fall. You saved yourself from the fall. Yeah, you broke a branch, and a branch made some noise.
So this
Birds
is
leapt into the air. Yeah.
This is not a separate location hazard because I'm in the same location.
Don't you wish?
I know, right? What is one to do?
There are location hazards elsewhere on the property if you wish to go find them, but in the current moment, you're not in a new location hazard.
If I have the chance, I will find them. We'll see.
We'll see if you survive this. You fire.
Oh, thank God.
3 degrees of success is not a headshot, but you do strike your opponent, and the gun rings out as you fire.
I use the crossbow. This is my crossbow. I do not have a pistol. I have my long gun, and I have this crossbow.
Very well. I will forego the fact that you would need to reload, and you would have taken the time to do that. I'll say that you were doing that while you were watching this figure emerge. You reload the crossbow, and you fire it, and you strike the individual in the shoulder, and she falls backwards, disappearing in the brush. Immediately, the wolves are set free and start charging through the woods. However, as you have masked your scent in a very specific way, they pass by you.
I have to change my location now. And that's what Achira is going to do. She's going to move back into the tree-lined brush. She can't stay in the same location.
All right. All you have to do is make a jump leap to make it to the next tree.
I have climbing gear.
You can use it.
I wish that I put more into my jump leap at this point.
Unfortunately, the branch that you were counting on to help carry you carefully across the way fell to the ground. Now you're having to improvise.
Yeah.
And so Achira steels herself. Her opponent temporarily scattered. She leaps from tree to tree and just barely catches onto the branch as you stretch out 10 feet ahead of you. You catch it. It knocks the air out of your chest as you pull yourself up, barely hanging on. We'll come back to you. Faith and Camila, you have continued. You have freed her of her bonds. The two of you have reassessed the situation. Your legs were asleep. It took you a while, Camila, to stand and to regain your ability to move forward. You have nothing on you. None of your equipment is with you in this moment. You have the clothes on your back. They took everything else from you, including your shoes. You are barefoot. Faith, the two of you are together. What do you want to do?
All right, Leeds should try to find a way out of here. Do you have any memory of when they brought you in, the direction, or if there were more traps, anything?
GM, do I have any recollection of that, or was I knocked out at that point?
They put a leather bag over your head, only pulling it off of you when you were in here.
Everything was muffled. I couldn't hear anything. They it had some sort of bag over my head. I couldn't see anything.
All right. Jeez, you don't have anything on you. Here, take this. I give her my long gun. You're better at this than I am. Just don't shoot me, all right? Talk about that later. And then I want to get down real quick, and I'm gonna take my boots off, and I'm gonna give her my socks, and then just my boots back on without socks, so she has some foot covering to make it through here.
All right. So you pull Faith's socks onto your feet.
Yep.
And now you're not touching this filthy floor. It's something.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if these bears and cannibals aren't gonna kill you, then the tetanus might, so let's do this.
I will remind you both that there are strips of leather and fur surrounding you.
Oh yeah, cool. Wanna make some shoes? Is that something we have time for? Camila?
Yep. Let's do that.
Okay, we take 5 minutes and make some shoes.
You take a few minutes and you wrap her feet with strips of dried leather and whatever pieces of fur you can find. Do you choose the thicker leather or do you choose the less thick fur?
I'm gonna choose a thicker leather.
You do so. It is well tanned, durable, supple, very soft. You wrap your feet in it.
We are not going to talk about where the leather is probably fun.
Nope.
But we will leave now because we are done here and I never want to see this shit again.
Yeah, let's go.
The two of you begin moving forward. There's only one door here unless you wish to crawl back into the shaft that you came from.
Nope. No spiky shaft. Good to the door. Check the door for traps.
I'm glad you did.
Oh, God.
Make a spot listen for me, please.
Oh. That's very bad.
All right. Camila, would you like to also make a spot lesson?
I was gonna say, can I help with that?
We can combine your successes and failures since the two of you are together and working as a unit. Also, if either of you have any benefits to moving in a formation, you can enact those now as well. The two of you have trained together. Camila is a sergeant within the structure of the Citadel, so before she had gone AWOL, she technically outranked you, Faith, but that doesn't really apply any longer. She's been marked as a deserter. Faith is about to pull the handle to the door. Unless, Faith, do you have any competency that you'd like to spend?
I do. I will go ahead and, so if we're combining, that's 3 failures, right? So if I use 4 competency, that'll give us 1 success.
Indeed it will.
Oof, okay, let's do that.
How many competency do you have remaining now?
What did I just tell you? I've got 1 left.
Sorry to tell you, you do have to tell me.
Do
you have 1.
Do I?
I can always rule it as 0 if you would like. You have 1 competency remaining. and you spend the competency necessary to be able to stop yourself as, Camila grabs your shoulder. As you feel like you're clear, you're about to pull the handle of this rustic-looking wooden door. It's a shack door. I mean, it barely has working hinges, but they're made out of rope. However, she grabs you. Camila, you see the small tripwire. It's tied to the handle itself.
I just stop her and give her the signal, not saying much. Just
What do the two of you do now that you've located a trigger for a trap?
We should probably disable. Who's better at spot listening? Probably is not me. Give it a shot. I guess we'll do it together, huh?
Yeah, I was like, can we do it together?
It's a dangerous road to go down, but we try to disarm the trap.
All right. So to disarm this trap, all you're going to need to do for me, because it's very crude, is make a lift pull. You're going to unhook this trigger off of this tripwire, off of this door. But Faith, you have 5 degrees of failure. You've rolled a 98 on this. Camila, you have rolled a 1 degree of success, 33%. You have, or I'm sorry, 29%. You have succeeded, but only by 1 degree. The two of you are working together. That takes it to 4 degrees of failure, which is still catastrophic. Do either of you have competency enough to correct this?
I just have the 1.
I have 1.
Okay, that's something.
If you spend 1 additional competency point from either of you, you will at least prevent it from being catastrophic.
Okay, I will throw my 1 competency in. So now it's
throwing it.
So that's 1, 2, 3. So now it's 2 degrees of failure.
Yeah.
So you pull this tripwire very slowly. Faith, you have it in your hands. Camila, you grab onto the handle of the door and you start to pull it open so that Faith then can reconnect it once the door is open without allowing it to slacken in any way. There's darkness beyond. You can't see anything. And then somewhere in the distance, you hear a man screaming. It catches you off guard, Faith. The tripwire slackens, and there's a large clatter as bottles and cans fall from a container, shattering on the floor in front of both of you. You hear other bells. And in the far distance, somewhere, you hear drums.
Oh, God. Damn it. We gotta move. Let's go. And I think we're gonna start moving quickly now, instead of carefully.
Yeah.
Are you going to run through the tunnels that are ahead of you?
Oh, man. Yeah.
Can I brisk walk?
Okay, we can brisk walk. She's pregnant, so maybe that makes more sense.
You're going to brisk walk through
I'm
the
going to
tunnels.
brisk walk. Holding onto my belly.
In the zombie apocalypse, we only brisk walk.
So be it. The two of you begin moving quickly through these passageways. There are a number of other doors. Do you stop or do you continue onward?
Continue onward. Not stopping at the random ass door to get killed by a bear or a wolf.
Yeah, I would go with Faith's instincts. Question though, the voice that we heard, would we have heard it anywhere else per any chance? Like, did it echo anywhere else, or did it scream anywhere else, or just that one time?
There's no way that you would recognize this voice. Faith, I'll allow you to make a spawn listen check, as the screaming has not stopped. Somewhere, someone is dying.
Okay.
And it sounds horrendous. Someone is being tortured, probably skinned alive.
Oh.
2 degrees of success.
Mm-hmm.
Faith, it's Lampwick.
Ah, shit.
Do you continue through the passageway, or do you stop and go back? Because now it's behind you.
Listen, Camilla, there's another part of the team here. I don't really like him, but I don't really think anyone should get skinned alive. This is like me having morals all of a sudden.
Another part of the team that's gonna take me back to the Citadel?
No, he's just like some random. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure. He's with a bunch of people who wear like, robes and like some cult or something. No one really ever told me the whole story on that, to be honest. I'm just following orders, but I'm pretty sure that's him somewhere screaming his guts out.
Oh shoot. You really think that's a wise decision to go back there?
I guess when you put it like that. No. So we should just leave this guy to get.
We should probably keep going.
Oh, okay.
Unless you're 100% sure it's this person.
Am I 100% sure it's this person, Nox?
Not with 2 degrees of success. You're
Oh,
not.
goddamn. All right. Sorry, bud. Yeah, you're right. This is, you know what? I've heard worse shit, and it's more important that we get out of here alive.
Yes, please. For seriously, the sake of my child, like, can we get out of here?
All right. Let's go.
So the 2 of you continue onward. There's a door at the end of the passageway. You've run another 80 feet, passing by numerous doors. What do you do? Do you blow through this door?
Oh, man. I really wanna, but we're probably gonna die if we do that, huh? Check the door for Travis one last time.
Make a spot listen as you stop
I
running.
mean, even if we find the trap, it's not like we can disable it. Alright, whatever.
2 degrees of failure on your spot listen.
It's fine. Yeah, the door
Camila?
seems great.
You could save this if you roll high enough. 3
The
degrees
door
of failure.
The door attacks.
Combined, that's 5 degrees of failure. The door flies open from the other side. There is a figure standing there. A large, ragged-looking man with fur and a hood draped over their head. You see a pair of large boar tusks that have been installed into a metal collar, jutting out from the hood around the man's neck. He's holding 2 large metal cleavers in either hand and dragging chains behind him. He's heavily muscled. He stands perhaps 7 feet tall. He barely fits through the doorway as he charges to you. I need you both to make a dodge roll, please. And I need you to roll 1 blue dice for your speed.
Dodge, correct?
That is correct. Dodge with 2 blue speed dice so that we can determine what order you're going to be acting. Both of you are acting on a 4. Both of you have failed your dodges.
Mm-hmm.
Faith, you have failed with 3 degrees of failure. Camila, you have failed with 1 degree of failure. Neither of you have any remaining competency points. So all I can ask, Faith, how many survival points do you have and how many are you willing to forego to help this situation?
I have 20, so I don't think that's going to do very much.
You're right. It does nothing. You need 50 to remove 1 this game. The large, tusked marauder pushes forward, swinging at both of you, wildly, with fury and rage. And we'll come back to both of you. Lampwick, You're surrounded by the bones, but you've stopped screaming. You've regained your composure. However, there's something that's grabbed onto you that may not ever let go. You're in the darkness, surrounded by the dead. What is your intention?
Look, I've seen some crazy shit, and if I heard a voice of the dead, and I'm now calm, I'm going to approach where I think that voice may have come from. And I'm going to say, I'm listening. Follow me, and I will get you out. And I listen to see if they respond.
You can't describe it. You've forgotten all of the wounds. You can't feel your body. The jagged cut across your cheek, the spear that pierced through your side. There's a dullness, an emptiness that wells up in you, Lampwick. The bone shuffles in front of you. As you feel a figure. Something has emerged from this place. Not bone. Desiccated flesh. It's grabbing desperately at you. Reaching for you. You feel it on your arms and your face. Dried, rotten hands. 2 of them. Thin and frail, but strong. Do you do anything at all?
Yeah. I reach out and with care, because if they're fragile, I don't want to break them. But if they're strong, I reach out and I grab them and I help pull them up. Guide me to those that did this to you.
You feel the figure pull itself closer to you. Stinking mass of rotten flesh. You have no question in your mind any longer, Lampwick. This is a Romero. Someone who must have fallen in this pit. Someone who wasn't as lucky as you. It's grasping onto you. You feel it getting closer, pulling you into a bite. Its teeth sink into your shoulders. You feel a gush of blood. What do you do?
I push the figure off and I say, "Come with me, and I will take you where you belong, and where you will be among others that will care for you." And I keep my hand, and I'm trying to see if I can get a read.
It pauses. There's a wet slickness to its mouth. In this darkness, you can't see anything. You only feel the shuffling of bones around you, and it is held still across from you. There's a tranquility here, Lampwick. But there's no escaping the fact that you've just been bit. And this figure, feeble and weak as it is, it doesn't seem to understand you.
I shoot it.
You pull your gun and you pull the trigger straight in front of you. You know from your hand and the outstretch of where it is, this will do what needs to happen. There's a flash of a barrel and you see the rotten face of a woman as her head explodes outward in just a brief blip of time. You can see again, and you hear the thud of her body as it drops to the ground.
I head forward and I try to get the fuck out of here. And I'm holding where I know I just been bit.
You push forward. Eventually, you feel wood, not dirt. There's a groaning noise. And the door breaks forward, expelling you and an enormous mound of bones out into a hallway. You see a flicker of flame a few hundred feet ahead of you down this long dirt corridor covered in doors and rotten wood. You see a large shape, and you see two figures fighting against it. Achira, the cabin is burning. You're hanging from a tree. You're being pursued. What's your next move?
I'm going to use my last explosive device that I have to blow a hole into the back of the cabin. I know that this will expose me. And I had previously hoped that people within the cabin would escape to below, but I still feel a need to go ahead and do this. It's something I was saving for a special occasion.
Perhaps this is it. What sort of explosive is it?
It's a small explosive device in the sense of a grenade, but it is not a grenade. Like it's not made like that. This is something that I previously spent some survival points on.
Were you in a location when that happened? Was that at the Gray Ridge bunker?
It was at Citadel.
Oh, so it's a homemade Citadel explosive.
Small explosive device, and I have in parentheses grenade, but I know that when I wrote that, it wasn't that it was a grenade.
It's much larger than a grenade. It is effectively a series of sticks of dynamite that have been halved and tethered together in a block. You can throw it, but you're going to need to get considerably closer than you are now if you wish to hit your target.
Of course I will. And why not? Let's do it.
Are you going to hit the ground and start running for your target?
Well, right now, the wolves are disinterested, and I hit the kennel mistress. And I want to explode. I'll have to get out of the tree line to just like toss this at the back of the cabin?
Unfortunately, yes.
Okay.
You have 40 feet of open ground between you and any portion of the cabin. There are the sheds and the buildings that are on the far side that are just down the slope below. And then there's the back of the cabin itself. So you can choose where you wish to place this. But if you wish to go to any of those locations, you will be stepping into an open field that is a location hazard. And it will give you 40 feet of running before you can find your target.
Which gives me competency points that I need since I'm at 0. However, they are not my objective. They don't help who's inside. But maybe whoever's inside can also help themselves if they have enough of a distraction somewhere else.
Now, you could try to circle around and find another location that you could plant this bomb from,
No, let's do the back of the cabin.
but so be it. If you're going to drop to the ground and begin to run, you can make a stealth check to try to do so in a way that is going to prevent you from being immediately spotted. You know that you've already drawn attention to your location. However, you have dissuaded the wolves and their master from your attention. So you may be able to do this. You may not. Everything depends on the stealth roll.
I mean, it's not horrible. It's 1 degree of failure. Does me hitting the ground running behind a burning cabin count as location hazard?
You already had the single location hazard, but when you drop to the ground, you do have your location hazard competency. So you do have a new installation of competency to use. If you're out in the open and running to do this. You have 1 degree of failure, so how many do you wish to spend to correct that?
Well, I only get 3 for a location hazard at this point until, you know, until whatever. I'll use all 3. I'll zero out for the 3rd time in this game to make this stealth happen.
Arrows begin dropping around your feet. You hear them pegging into the ground right behind you, and dirt flies up and hits your back as you charge across this open ground. You know you've been spotted by individuals in the tree line that have been waiting for someone to break free of it, but you're unharmed. You continue to run. You make it around the back of this burning cabin, and you have 2 options. Do you plant the bomb at the back of the cabin, or do you drop it down this cliffside to the buildings that are on the other end of it? This network of shacks and other makeshift hovels that are connected together, stretching out deeper into the woods.
No. I'm not trying to take out possible escape routes. I just want to open up another one if, in case anyone is on this particular level. This
in
is
the
like
back, the back of the cabin.
This is a toss and run.
Yeah. Okay, I got you.
And if it takes down the first level of the cabin structure with it, because it's so, you know, whatever, great. But that's the intention here.
You drop it, you continue to run. Arrows continue to pelt the ground around you. And you see figures in the tree line across from you. The tree line that you're running towards. You can continue forward. You'll most likely be facing opponents there. Unknown amounts of those opponents. You can run into the burning cabin, or you can go over the edge, dropping down 20 feet into whatever unknown hell awaits you in these smaller buildings.
I'm gonna go for the edge.
Make a jump leap for me. Achira, you pinwheel off the edge of this cliff. You feel the darkness around you, and you look up at the moon as you hang in the air, and then immediately begin dropping downward. This final roll of the session will determine whether or not you hurt yourself in that fall.
Well, let it be. Fuck.
You break through the roof of one of the buildings. You feel something jab into your side, and you hit the dirt ground. 20 feet away from you, you see Lampwick holding onto a bloody shoulder. There's an explosion above you. That is where we're going to end our session tonight.